And well, it seems that we're gonna have around 50 games with FSR 4 at release. If not 50 games, at least over 40 games with FSR 4 at the release of RDNA 4 cards, the RX 9000 series. And you might ask, well, but how?
I don't know, Jim.
FSR 3.1 is not that well implemented yet, and there are some titles that don't even have FSR 3 yet, so how will we have FSR 4 with over 40 games at the release date? It is quite simple. Lots of people didn't get this or didn't watch my live stream that I made about the client pre-brief deck that AMD released to us, and that's why we know that the RDNA cards were supposed to get released in January or by the end of January or by the beginning of February, and then they got postponed to March and so on. As you can see, AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT and 9070, and as you can see, there are already cards, and there are cards in the store for several weeks as well, and it is certain by now that they postponed it. Postponed? Not the sponsor. Today's video sponsor is GVG Mall, bringing you lots of software deals like Windows 10, Windows 11, Office 2019 or 2021 with a new Windows 11 design, and for all of these you can use my SKG discount code for 30% off, getting a Windows 11 serial key for $22 and a Windows 10 one for only $15. Then use the key on your Windows settings and you'll have an activated system. Now we have some interesting things, as you can see, Radeon AI inside the software, and then we have this. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution 4, machine learning powered upscaling, with developed for AMD RDNA 4, high quality 4K upscaling, high performance with FSR plus FG, and low latency with AMD Anti-Lag 2, all those usual shenanigans. And then if we zoom in, we have this. AMD FSR 4 upgrade feature only available on the AMD Radeon 9070 series graphics cards for supported games with AMD FSR 3.1 already integrated. You heard it right. AMD FSR upgrade feature, and that works the same way that Nvidia is now bringing an upgrade feature, it seems, and just by having the drivers installed and the Nvidia app, you can go there and kind of use the latest DLSS version in every single game. That's what they're aiming for, and it seems that AMD has and has been having for quite some time an upgrade feature for FSR 4, meaning that every single game with FSR 3.1 will be available to be upgradable to FSR 4, and we currently have around 50 games with FSR 3.1, or at least I would say at least around 40 games with FSR 3.1. And if this isn't enough for you to believe that FSR 3.1 can be upgraded to FSR 4 just on driver side, in the previous drivers that got released, the 25.1.1, where I made a video about it, we have a DLL file that shows that there are something already included in the drivers for FSR 4, meaning that DLL file should be, in theory, the upgradable path file from FSR 3.1 to FSR 4. And there are even more proof because, of course, 25.1.1 should be the drivers for RDNA 4, I believe, because again, RDNA 4 would be releasing in January, and 25.1.1 were just optional drivers. They were kind of a crutch in order to have a driver for January, and I'm pretty sure that's why it also brings the AMD FSR 4 DLL file. And if we look at the CES presentation with a video from Hardware Unboxed, where they showed FSR 4 side by side, and I spoke to AMD about this, FSR 4 was kind of in an early stage when they tested it. Hardware Unboxed, Tim and Steve were actually pretty impressed with the results, and the results were pretty nice in terms of image stability, in terms of quality and so on. It was much better than FSR 3.1 in those regards. And it was running 4K performance mode, not even quality mode, it was performance mode, and it was much, much better. And the game that was running there with FSR 4 was Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. And that game doesn't have FSR currently, and of course you can say, well, but FSR 4 was implemented in that game, but I don't think that's the case. I believe that Ratchet & Clank was already upgraded with the upgrade feature as well, because if you look at The Last of Us, Yeah, The Last of Us got a recent update, and it was the update for FSR 3.1. I mean, a game that almost nobody plays, and we will be playing the part 2. People that like The Last of Us will be playing the part 2 on PC, and they just updated it to FSR 3.1 in order to be upgradable to FSR 4, because again, Sony and AMD are kind of working together in that regarding of upscaling frame generation and so on. That's why PlayStation has PSSR now. But well, I'm kind of going off rails here. What I mean is, we have the press deck saying that we have an upgrade feature for FSR 3.1 games to work with FSR 4 on a driver level based, meaning that you just need to go to the drivers and select kind of upgrade to FSR 4 or something, and the game with FSR 3.1 will run with FSR 4, which is great, but at least for now it only works with the RX 9070 series. And I would really like to see FSR 4 working with RDNA 3 at least by March. Since they kind of postponed the release of the cards, it would be nice to have FSR 4 working with the RDNA 3 cards as well, because if you're postponing, at least brings something different, and in this case something different would be FSR 4 working with the RDNA 3 cards, since they have AI cores. Not as powerful, not even close, but they do have AI cores. So yeah, we have this, again, the FSR 4 upgrade feature of the press deck. We have games like The Last of Us that are from Sony being upgraded to FSR 3.1, of course, in order to be able to support FSR 4. This means that God of War and some other games will have it. And if we look at the list from video cards, by the way, and if we look at the list of the available upcoming games, or at least the games that are running FSR 3.1 or that will have FSR 3.1, we have Ark Survival Ascended, Bellwright, Beyond Hanwell, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Caravan Sandwiched, Creatures of Ava, Don't Scream, Darkside, Dungeon Stalkers, In No Tree of the Last Song. Some of these are kind of indie games. Everspace 2, Farming Simulator 25, Final Fantasy 16, Flipscapes, Frostpunk 2, which is nice, Funko Fusion, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, again, it already has the FSR 3.1, God of War Ragnarok, Gory Cuddly Carnage, Gridfall 2 The Dying World, Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, Hunt Showdown 1896, and this game really needs a better FSR implementation, so it's great. If we're gonna have FSR 3.1, means that we can use FSR 4, which will be great for this game. Incursion Red River, Lost Records Bloom and Rage, Manor Lords, Marvel Rivals as well, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales and the Spider-Man Remastered, and Spider-Man 2 will most likely bring FSR 4 native, I believe. MechWarrior 6 Clans, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, New Home Medieval Village, No More Room in Hell 2, Pine Arbor, Predator, Hunting Grounds, Providence, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart again, Remnant 2, Ram Survival, Satisfactory, Silent Hill 2, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, Super Moves, Tactical Vengeance, Play the Games, Test Drive Unlimited, Solar Crown, The Axis Unseen, The First Descendant, The Last of Us Part 1 that got upgraded a couple of days ago, Tiny Glade, Until Dawn, Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, and Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Realms of Ruin. And this means that, well, at least for now or in the near future, we'll have 53 games that will be just usable with FSR 4. If you have a 9000 series, a 9070 or a 9070 XT, you'll be able to use FSR 4 in 53 games soon, at least over 40 games right now. And of course there are more games that I would like to see having FSR 4 as well, like Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Black Myth Wukong is a must, because the FSR implementation in Black Myth Wukong is so bad. Even TSR is much better than FSR. FSR is just a blurry mess, and people that actually use the OptiScaler mod and so on to inject FSR 3.1 in Black Myth Wukong has way better experience, especially with FSR 3.1.3 that is considerably better in transparency and so on, and with FSR 4 it would be even better. I mean, Black Myth Wukong needs to upgrade to FSR 3.1 ASAP. Then we have, of course, games like Cyberpunk 2077, but I don't really think they will upgrade to FSR 3.1 anytime soon, because if they're having the LSS 4, they don't want people to use FSR 4 and to compare both and so on. They just don't want to. It is what it is, it's the market, I guess. I don't really like it. I kind of despise it, but it is what it is. Same goes for Dragon's Dogma 2. Dying Light 2 Stay Human also needs FSR 3.1 ASAP. Still a good game. Fort Solis, love the game, but it has lots of shimmer with FSR, so we need FSR 4 there. We do have other games that I would like to see, like Kunitsugami, maybe Lords of the Fallen for people that like it. I don't really like the game much. And we have other ones like Ready or Not, for example. RoboCop as well, we have FSR 3, but I would like to see a better upscaling then. Sons of the Forest as well. Starfield, especially Starfield, and Star Wars Outlaws the same. So we have lots, and the Thaumaturge. But the Thaumaturge, I played the game, I actually finished the game, and it was a good game, and it goes very well with TSR, so I believe that for most systems you don't really need FSR. But yeah, if you didn't believe it, yeah, we're gonna have at least over 40 games at the release date of RDNA 4, 40 games with support for FSR 4, because again, like NVIDIA is doing, AMD is gonna do the same with the upgrade feature, meaning that now if you have an NVIDIA or AMD card, you can actually upgrade to the newest version of the DLSS or FSR by using just the drivers, and that's a very, very good thing to have if you're playing an older game that has FSR 3.1 or an older game that has even, for example, the DLSS 3, the first version of the DLSS 3. You can just do it via drivers instead of needing, for example, the DLSS swapper and so on. Because you can only change the DLL files, kind of upgrade the FSR after FSR 3.1. That's one of AMD's biggest mistakes, and that's why we have this happening, and we only have 40 games. Because if AMD did this before, we would have so many games with support for FSR 4 on day one. It would be like over 100, but it is what it is, I guess. And well, that's all for today's short video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share the video. And by the way, I'm already working on the Adrenaline versus Pro drivers, now using the Adrenaline 24.12.1 because I already tested it before the release of the 25.1.1 versus the Adrenaline Pro Quarter 4.1, meaning recent Adrenaline versus recent Pro drivers, to see if we have some differences like we had in the previous video that I made, where Adrenaline was much faster in some case scenarios. Will it be faster now with the newest Pro drivers, or not really? Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, this is kind of juice, kind of kiwi juice or something like that. See you in the next video. Cheers.